Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Murdoch DeFi YouTube channel. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a first-hand look at DEX finance. As you can see here, the DEX money market more in particular. This is actually a kind of a company that launched their DEX IRA platform back in July of 2021. So back in July of last year, they are KYC'd by Solid Proof on this project in particular. But really, what I want to talk about is the DEX money market today. So the DEX money market is an algorithmic protocol with yield generating auto compounding strategies and ETF rewards. Our unique protocol offers a single regulatory pool which controls the price of US DEX and thus removes the need for bonding in the sense the money market consists of two corresponding tokens. So they have their US DEX and then their DEX share tokens as well. And there's going to be a lot of information in this video, but really what they are doing is kind of insane and allowing users. I would kind of compare this to like when we look at like tomb forks and things like that, where it has such a high barrier to entry in terms of like how you need to understand the protocol because it's very easy to go in there, lose a bunch of money, or lose a bunch of money when whales come in there and try to manipulate the peg token and all kinds of stuff, right? So with this, they're doing a bunch of things differently. So that's what I want to talk about today. That's what we're going to be covering, more particularly the money market side of things. So what we're going to do is read all through their docs and really get a good understanding of what these guys are doing because it's absolutely insane and this could make you a whole ton of money. Not financial advice, but for me, this is something that I'm definitely looking at pretty heavily. Before we jump into today's video, guys, if you could please subscribe to the YouTube channel here. If you are new to the channel, welcome. If you get any value out of today's video, please consider subscribing after you watch the video. Also, a couple ways to stay up to date with what I'm doing in the world of crypto and DeFi. Obviously, the easiest way to do that is to hit the notification bell as soon as after you subscribe so that you're notified as soon as I launch any more content because as we know, things in crypto and DeFi are very time sensitive, meaning the sooner that you can get your eyes on one of my videos, the better in terms of opportunities that you could choose to take advantage of. Also, the first link in the description to the premium Discord server. That's where you're going to find the laundry list of benefits that you could take advantage of when signing up. Obviously, one of the biggest benefits here is getting notified or knowing about these these projects that we talk about here on the channel before I have the opportunity to make videos about them. Also, we do a ton of giveaways. So if you want to check that out, first link in the description to be able to do so, right? So the DEX money market, it's an algorithmic protocol with yield generating auto compounding strategies and ETF rewards. So they're auto compounding strategies. We added multi-step auto compounded strategies, which enables investors to simply stake a strategy and receive a single receipt token rather than manually having to navigate in and out of multiple farming and staking pools. This right here should already have you interested, right? Like they're taking all of the work out of having to go in and out of multiple farming and staking pools and just allowing you to jump into a strategy, which is crazy, right? So they also have their ETF rewards. We've built in a proportion of the emissions to be distributed in a third currency, so their DEX ETF, thereby relieving some of the sell pressure caused by the high APR percentages. A portion of the ETF fund will include DEX IRA, which again is their token that has been around since July of 2021, along with the money market tokens, right? And their ETF pays out in a bunch of different tokens. So we'll go into exactly what that is. They also have their bonding mechanism, which is used to allow investors to purchase money market tokens at a discount by buying with a pre-selected list of currencies, including the DEX IRA and the DEX ETF, thereby creating consistent buy pressure for tokens within the DEX ecosystem. Purchase bonds will be vested over a multi-day period. So what I want to do, they have these two tokens here. So their DEX, their US DEX and their US or their DEX share. But really, what I want to do is jump into some of their documentation because this is really important to to understand, right? So DEX money market is an algorithmic reserve protocol with a multi-step auto compounded strategies and ETF rewards. Our protocol offers a single regulatory mechanism and protocol owned liquidity inspired by precursive projects before us like Tomb Finance, Olympus DAO, Balancer, Beefy Finance. All those guys have inspired the DEX Finance team to create this money market. So we have developed a truly unique multi-token protocol that empowers users by simplifying the advanced trading strategies employed by experienced investors and promotes growth through a low-risk algorithmic trading model. So what is the difference between, let's just say them or, a Tomb Fork, for instance? So money market operates on a 3-token system designed to work in harmony with one another. Our protocol uses advanced tokenomics to accomplish 3 primary objectives. The first one is to maintain the price of the peg token without putting investors at risk. So DEX Finance uses only one regulation staking pool. In this system, the price of the peg token is regulated by smart contracts, not investors. So this is very different from Tomb Forks, where investors can go in and actually manipulate the peg of the peg token. A lot of these Tomb Forks, right, or even in Tomb Finance. So the price of their peg token is regulated purely by smart contracts. So the protocol's underlying mechanisms dynamically buys and sells the supply of USDEX, pushing its price up or down relative to the price of USDC. And this allows less experienced investors to participate in high yield farming. So experienced investors eat, sleep, and breathe crypto. They spend countless hours charting trends and plotting complex trades that can flip the market for beginner and part-time investors in an instant. To help level the playing field for new and less experienced crypto investors, we have created a new ecosystem that empowers users by simplifying the advanced trading strategies employed by experienced investors and promotes growth through a low-risk algorithmic trading model. And this is huge. This is a big reason why DeFi hasn't really had that retail adoption yet, is because the amount of time and energy that you have to put into these things to learn about, even if it's just something as simple as, let's just take Anchor Protocol for instance. For somebody to get from like Coinbase or crypto.com all the way to investing and understanding what is going on in Anchor Protocol is it's a high learning curve, right? Needless to say, what all goes into understanding how a Tomb Fork or a balancer works or anything like that, right? So this is huge in kind of getting new and less experienced crypto investors into our ecosystem, right? And this is good because this provides more TVL for DeFi as a whole. So this also prevents mercenary yield farmers from pillaging liquidity pools, which again, this is what we see all the time, even in Tomb Forks, right? So today's latest DeFi projects offer more incentive than ever. Investors can earn massive returns during the project's infancy as token creators dangle ultra high yield carrots in front of newcomers. While this can often spur a hefty spike in a project's TVL or total value locked, it rarely lasts. As soon as the reward scheme ends, these mercenary farmers withdraw their liquidity and leave true believers in the project holding the bag. So this is how a lot of people can get wrecked in yield farming, right? So how does their protocol work? And this is very, very interesting here. The money market relies on a balance between circulating supply and treasury-backed assets. So after the pre-sale, the only new supply of UXDEX going into circulation comes from regulation pool or their boardroom, right? In the traditional model, these tokens would be dispersed to boardroom stakers immediately every epoch based on the TWAP, right? In our model, these stakers do not receive USDEX. Instead, the protocol takes in all of the newly minted USDEX and then only sells enough to bring it back to peg, right? So the protocol, the smart contracts essentially is controlling exactly or everything that goes on with the peg, kind of reiterating that fact from before, right? Once the protocol sells the amount are the correct amount of US DEX, these tokens, which are now counted within the circulating supply, can be bought or sold. So the protocol never sells or puts into circulation more than the treasury can buy back at the peg price. This is how they were able to keep the price at peg. The profits from the sale of those US DEX tokens are then converted to the DEX ETF tokens and redistributed back to the DEX share stakers. If these stakers decide they want to sell those rewards at any point, they can do so. They can do so all they want, as this has no impact on the price of the actual peg token, right? This is crazy because there's no sell pressure on the actual peg token, which is great. The money market protocol controls the supply of the peg tokens only by selling when the price is optimally above peg and only selling an amount that can be covered by the treasury backed assets. So the US DEX that was previously sold can be bought back if needed. So they have their tokens here, the US DEX tokens. Contract address is TBA, or to be announced. US DEX token is designed to be used as a medium of exchange. The built-in stability mechanism in the protocol aims to maintain US DEX peg to one USDC token. They have their share token here as well. They have their ETF, and then they have, obviously, the protocol owns their own liquidity. So in order to incentivize users, money market tokens can be purchased at a discount in a process known as bonding. And this is, even if we look at bonding from, like an ohm fork or something like that, like I would say that the majority of people don't even use bonding. But in this case, bonds have a vesting period to prevent users from selling all the discounted tokens at once for a quick profit. The list of bondable tokens includes currencies such as the DEX IRA, the DEX ETF, ensuring consistent buy pressure for native tokens within the ecosystem. They have their bonding versus renting liquidity. So liquidity is a necessity for a protocol's existence. Without it, trading depth is impossible. To incentivize this, protocols can offer substantial rates in farming fees. Liquidity providers attracted by high rates and are willing to take off risk of liquidity provision in exchange for yield. However, the common phrase total value locked is quite a misnomer. Liquidity deposited in the yield farms can generally be withdrawn at any time, and for that reason should be considered mercenary, right? So people, like, just because the TVL shows on the Tomb Fork that it's at $500,000, for instance, well, that could just be a couple different people that are invested, and they could dump that or pull that out, right? Because it's not really locked. So they're saying that should be considered as mercenary. The vast majority of farmers are chasing only the highest yield, not the best project. Should rewards ever fall, the departures are sure to follow. And we see that all over the place. Even if we're talking about just like yield farming on beefy or anything like that, when like the APRs drop on a specific pool, then you'll see a lot of the TVL exit, and people are either rotating their funds to another chain or to a different pool, right? To continue to earn that yield. So bonding, on the other hand, offers a sale of an asset with funds deposited into the treasury, which can be used to buy back liquidity and collateralize an asset. So their PEG regulation, I'm not going to go through this too much. I really want to get to this strategy section because this is where things start to seem pretty cool. So DEX Finance enables users to stake their tokens within a multi-step strategy rather than manually having to adjust for emission rates and market fluctuations. Investors receive a single receipt token which carries the same value as if they were navigating in and out of multiple farms or pools. This increases the efficiency with which an investor can grow their position and reduces the burden on them to be attentive to multiple strategies, right? And this kind of gives you a breakdown of if you were to like zap into the US DEX USDC peg farm, then you would start earning the DEX share reward. Those DEX share rewards would then be zapped into the DEX share / BNB farm, and then that would earn you more DEX share rewards. which would go into their regulation staking. And then you would use your US DEX rewards, and those would be paid out in the ETF rewards. So you can see this is paid out in DOT, Matic, ETH, XRP, BNB, Cardano, and some other ones as well. And of course, their native currencies here, which is their DEX share, US DEX, and their DEX token. So very, very cool that you can just zap into this, and this will all be done for you based on their strategies. So strategies are based on risk levels that determine an allocation between each pool. Our unique method of peg regulation assumes that the cost of USDEX will always stay within relative proximity to the price of USDC, which is a stablecoin pegged to the dollar, thereby drastically reducing the risk of loss due to price action. So very interesting, and they're really talking about the risk of impermanent loss, right? And because the price of USDEX is pegged to USDC, which is a collateral-backed stablecoin with a value of $1, the risk of impermanent loss is nearly eliminated. So, like I was saying, given these two factors, one can enter the USDEX USDC farm at any time with limited risk. Conversely, the price of the DEX share is meant to fluctuate in price and thereby carries more of an inherent risk with a greater upside potential. That totally makes sense. But they have these different pools that you could jump into, right? So you could just zap in to, if I want to go after a conservative strategy, if I want to go after a risk averse strategy, if I want to go after a risk tolerant strategy, all the way down to like the gunslinger, the most degen pool will probably have the highest APRs, but also inherently the most risk involved as well. So that you could just zap right into this, and you don't even have to worry about it. It's just the protocol is gonna do its own thing, and yeah. So it says the DEX money market is an algorithmic reserve currency that employs this multi-step auto-compounded strategy. Investors can simply invest in a strategy and receive a single receipt token rather than manually having to navigate in and out of multiple farming or staking pools, which is huge. Absolutely insane. So like I to my knowledge, nobody else is doing anything like this, and it's pretty cool to see. So investors may choose to zap into any of our strategies with a single click and have their funds distributed into pools based on their risk tolerance. So this gives you an easy way to be able to navigate the like this world, right? They also have their DEX IRA integrations. So the US DEX and DEX share will be added to the DEX dashboard, so you'll be able to earn in the money market for holding the DEX IRA token. And you can look at how all that stuff is done, but definitely very, very cool stuff. They do have early entry on pre-sale, so DEX IRA will need to be held in order to participate in the DEX pad pre-sale, which you could definitely check out by just clicking the DEX pad. Of course, I'll leave the links to all this stuff down below in the description, but essentially, if you wanted to hop into the pre-sale for the money market side of their project, then you would have to hold a specific number of these DEX IRA tokens, which the actual price of DEX IRA has been seeing an increase because now it has added utility. DEX IRA is essentially a reflection token. Like I said, if you want to do more research on that, it's definitely all on the website. But lots of cool stuff coming from DEX Finance and the launch of their money market kind of solution to yield farming and tomb forks, all this stuff, right? So very, very revolutionary stuff. I think this has potential to do extremely well for a lot of people and bring a lot of TVL into the actual protocol because I think that retail adopters will probably invest this or be welcome to trying this out rather than trying to understand exactly what's going on. Like I said, you could just come in here, zap into a conservative strategy, and it's automatically going to do what it needs to do for you, and then you could just make money. So pretty cool stuff to see from DEX Finance. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section of today's video. Other than that, guys, it's going to wrap up today's video. If you could leave a like on it, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next one.